Banks are scared to death that Ripple and Circle will become national charter banks. Their tech is better than the SWIFT method, which is why it can take the place of almost everything your bank does now. Because they can do it faster, cheaper, and better, the market is afraid that Ripple will get a banking license soon. We are going to look at some new information by Paul Barron and get a better sense of what is going on. Also, Chad Steingraber wrote about FIS, Circle, and RippleNet, saying that FIS trades will use USDC. However, I went down this rabbit hole a little further and will tell you everything you need to know about the XRP ledger. At the end of the video, I also have a lot of other XRP knowledge. Watch out for that. Now, this is Paul Barron. There are banks on the ropes of Ripple. BPI just tried to stop Ripple from getting a banking license. XRP, RLUSD, and let's not forget that BPI is an industry marketing group. BPI speaks for 42 of the biggest banks in the US and works to change laws and policies. That being said, if you're getting paid by the 42 biggest banks in the US, you have a financial reason to stop this right away. These lobbying firms will do everything they can right now to make sure this doesn't happen, because if even a few of these banks fail or can't give as much money to the lobbying firm, they could lose a big amount of money. It's also pretty sad, right? Because this would help our banks get the tech they need to help us save money. Why would they want you and me to save money? Because they make billions of dollars every year by charging us fees to move our money around the world. With Ripple's system, all of this could be done for very little money. This is what scares them the most. BPI says that the public only had 2.5 weeks to look over Ripple's application, from July 16th to August 4th. They say this is not enough time for such a unique banking application that involves cryptocurrency activities. Because of regulatory uncertainty, the pushback shows that the traditional banking industry sees Ripple's crypto banking hybrid model as possibly problematic. This could affect how the OCC makes its decision. And Jamie Dimond is on the BPI board. Very interesting, very interesting. Brian Monahan from Wells Fargo and Charles Scharf from Bank of America. It's interesting to see two of these three, right? Bank of America and Wells Fargo both use Ripple. These other banks are US Bank, BNY Mellon, PNC Bank, State Street, Truist, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley. These are all banks that stand to lose a lot if Ripple technology is used. They stand to lose a lot, but they also stand to gain a lot. They believe that they can still make a lot of money by letting, say, a bank charge $50 for a transaction. That deal could have an internal cost of $10 or $25. We have no idea. They don't really know those things. But if they use Ripple's tech, they could get that price down to about $5. The XRP tracking service can still be used for a half cent or a penny. People can still pay Ripple for it. They would still have all the money they could imagine. That's why I'd really like to know how much these banks pay to use some of these lines. It's important to remember that some of these banks are paid by other banks to use their lines. Oh man, I'll look into that. I'm going to look into it. What took place? It is the creator of the XRP ledger cryptocurrency and the RLUSD. In July 2025, Ripple applied for a US national banking license with the Office of Comptroller Currency. It is a major cryptocurrency and payments company. This move is part of a bigger plan to become the first digital bank regulated by the federal government and to improve legal oversight of a stablecoin RLUSD, according to BPI, the Bank Policy Institute. All of that has already been done. That means we don't have to give you all of that too. As a response, BPI and other major banking groups such as the American Banking Association and other similar groups sent letters to the OCC asking them to delay or reject the approval. It works like multiple. There are a lot of bigger organizations working to stop Ripple and Circle right now. Even though it's crazy, we had to know this was going to happen, right? Like this writing on the wall. As soon as Ripple put in an application for this, I knew there would be no go. It seems likely that there will be even more than this, but I'll let you know as soon as I find out. BPI and its partners say that 2.5 weeks is not enough time for the people to review the plan. Most of the time, this takes 4 months. It's interesting that this will happen in 2.5 weeks. Do you really believe that Ripple's banking license would be accepted that quickly? Getting this done so fast is not something that usually happens. We need to wait and see what the OCC does. They can refuse this application right away or hold on to it for months if they show it to you. So it will be interesting to see how it goes. Traditional banks say that the public parts of Ripple's application don't go into enough depth about its business plan and don't talk about or reveal all of the effects on the banking system. They warned of possible regulation gaps when digital asset companies are given permission to work with less oversight or new rules. That's interesting. That's interesting. Why do institutions not like it? Keeping classic banks safe. Ripple wants to get around established correspondent banking networks like SWIFT and give almost instant global settlements through blockchain. This would put legacy banks' business models at risk. That's it. Gaps in regulations. Many more crypto firms could join Ripple if they are given a national banking charter without having to do traditional fiduciary activities as needed by law. This could be a very big problem. Think about what would happen if a bad player in the crypto space like Tether got a national banking license in the US. Could you picture? No. Okay, we hope not. Lobbying power. The BPI and its partners are using a lot of resources to lobby. In 2025, BPI spent $1.3 million on marketing by itself. In the big picture, that's not a lot of money. There is no need for us to go over the regulatory situation. You can read all of this if you want to. The Genius Act was just passed. We're still waiting for more information about the Clarity Act, which is a set of rules for digital assets that really shows which assets are regulated by the CFTC and which are regulated by the SEC. Okay, this picture was shared by Chad Steingraber. There is a lot of information here, but I put it all in one place to make it easier to read. The relationship and agreement between Ripple and FIS is based on using ripples. For international payments, RippleNet and the XRP ledger focus on faster transactions, more openness, more liquidity, and faster processing.